Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Graves.
I'm Maz Maddox.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
We're here after one whole week off.
Yes.
How did that feel?
Weird, actually, because I'm so used to coming and like doing the recording on our specific.
Used to coming.
We write smut books, or
Yep.
I do. You read them.
I
Anyway,
read them.
so yeah, it was weird because it like threw off my weekly routine.
Right.
Plus, like, I have fun.
But then there was that other thing that threw off the whole weekly routine. Thanksgiving, yeah. The big turkey-sized brick in the middle of the week. Right.
So,
How was your Thanksgiving?
it's fine. I mean, it's kind of relaxing, bordering boring at this point because it's just me and Alex now. So it's just sitting around the house waiting for the turkey to be done, kind of not doing anything, playing video games, which is nice. But I don't know. I kind of missed the family stuff this year, I guess, because it's been, 3 years now since we've done the whole running around, making sure we see everybody within the like crazy time frames. I'm like, now that it's been so many years, I've had enough time to be like, I kind of miss it instead of being like, woo.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
I think you would very quickly get over it.
Probably.
If you had to do that all over again.
Yeah. I would be like, oh yeah, I can't wait. And then we'd be in the car driving to Dallas and be like, oh yeah, this sucks.
Yeah. No fun.
Yeah.
Mine was equally low key this year. It was just John and I and the boys, and then my parents came up from where they live, an hour away. Nobody needs to know what that town is called because they wouldn't know it anyways. Anyways, they live an hour away and they were here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, but it was also very low key and enjoyable in its own way. And the Packer game was on, which gives people who care about that something to do.
Yeah. That's the best case scenario.
They won the game, which means
great.
everybody was like super happy.
Yeah.
I'm not usually aware of whether or not sports teams have done well or not.
Yeah.
But I was aware on Thursday for Thanksgiving.
Good.
Because it meant people were in a good mood.
That's
and
important.
I made way too much food, which has been lots of fun to eat. Leftovers of.
Leftover Thanksgiving food is like the best though. Because
it's almost better than eating it the first time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Because like you can just do weird like, are you one of those people that just like mushes everything together, or do you keep it all separate?
Like in the containers that go into the fridge?
Yeah. Or like when you're making your own plate.
It all kind of touches.
Okay.
I'm not like turning it into a mash or anything.
Yeah. I do the mash thing. Like I'll do like a layer of stuffing and then like a layer of mac and cheese and like top it with turkey and just make it into like this little bowl.
Yeah.
Really
okay.
good.
So that sounds acceptable.
Yeah. Not like a toddler, but
I was like, I'm just going to mix my mashed potatoes and gravy with the cranberries? Like, that doesn't sound appealing.
Nothing that nasty.
But, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds more reasonable. Sort of like a Thanksgiving KFC bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, those aren't bad.
Yeah, for sure.
I miss those.
Yeah.
Maybe I should get one of those.
You'll regret it. Every time I'm like, every time I miss one and I go get it, I was like, oh, I'm going to treat myself. I feel like shit for like a week. So don't do it.
No, I won't.
I took that bullet for you already.
That was all I needed to hear. So because we had the long weekend work-wise, did you get anything done? Are you doing anything new and exciting?
So I finished the dinosaur short story thing, which they finally announced. We can officially talk about it because they wouldn't let us say anything until everything was like locked down. But it's the title of the anthology is called Cretaceous Crushes, which I thought was cute. I don't know everybody who's involved just yet. They told us to wait because there's still a couple of people like on the fence. But
who's on the fence about a dinosaur romance?
I think it's more just like if they can finish in time because it should have been turned in by now. Okay. And like there's people who are kind of needing a little bit of wiggle room.
Sure.
So we're kind of waiting to see that. But I've seen the cover, which is adorable. And they're doing a cover release on the 21st of December. Okay. It's really cute. I was like, I'm kind of a snob when it comes to like what my stuff is associated with cover wise. And I saw some earlier ideas and I was like, it's fine. But like, and then I saw what they landed on. I was like, okay, that's adorable. Okay, so yeah, but it's a charity anthology. And I can't remember the two charities that we're doing. I think one is the Transgender Defense Fund. And then the other one, I can't remember because we changed like kind of last minute, but yeah, I'm
sure
excited.
That will all be well advertised.
Oh yeah, I'll scream it from
the book launch.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I'm excited. So that's done. They have my story. I don't have to think about it anymore. And then I got a bunch of word counts done on, I keep wanting to say Find the Gen, Wild Contracts too. Yep. So I think I'm about halfway through, at least from my initial like goal of how long I wanted it to be. So that's good. And awesome. Like plot wise, I think it's lining up really well. So I'm like, hell yeah. Like excellent. That rarely happens. So yeah. So like while Thanksgiving was super boring, it was very productive. Like I got a lot done. So
I mean, yeah. Excellent. Yeah. I guess like I'm okay with boring for like a little bit of time. And this 4-day weekend was like just enough boring to be exactly what I needed. Yeah, for sure. Like there were moments where I was like, am I seriously just going to sit down and watch another episode of television? Yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah. And that's what's happening now. Yeah. Well, then like sometimes I was about to like press play, but like you don't even have to anymore. The shows just keep going. Well, until it hits that weird thing where it's like, hey, are you okay? And you're like, yes, I'm fine. Yeah. Just like keep playing. Don't ask me this question. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So yours wasn't overly productive. It was just nice and relaxing, which is perfect. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I had absolutely no intention of doing any work for those 4 days. Yeah. Worked very hard to make sure I didn't have to do any work for those 4 days. Nice. And then proceeded to not do any work for those 4 days. I'm proud of you. Thank you. That's hard to do. Like, I think we both suffer from anytime we're not doing something, the guilt of not doing something is very loud. Sure. Well, and I even thought that like by Saturday or Sunday, maybe I'll do some podcast stuff or I'll prep a book. Yeah. Things I can do from home. I just won't go in the office. Right. And no, I truly spent the whole weekend doing house stuff. Yeah. Well, that's I made a whole Thanksgiving meal. Yeah, that's a lot actually. That was a lot of work, but it wasn't for business work. Right. And I truly did not do any the whole weekend. Good. And I'm perfectly fine. Good. Well rested. Good. That's awesome. Yeah. Gold star. Yeah. So, the day after Thanksgiving, because we love picking these days where like nothing else is going on, we launched our latest audiobook, Eternal Sin by Mia Monroe. Yep. I have seen some people out there chatting about it as they're listening. It seems to be getting some great response. I knew it would though. This one was really fun. Yeah. It's I think I did a good job with it. Like, you did. It was fun. I feel proud of this one, so I'm excited for people to be listening to it, hopefully enjoying it. And hopefully telling people about it, as we've discussed, like, because we're not on Audible or anything like that. You can't leave a ranking or a review or a rating or a review. But we do hope you're telling your friends if you like it. Yeah, it definitely helps. Pointing them our way. Yep. If you are listening to this the day it comes out, there's just a few more days for people to join our Patreon, and they will get this book. They will get Eternal Sin as their perk of membership. Yep. That lasts through December 4th. Yes. So if it's after December 4th, you can still join the Patreon, but your membership perk will come to you next month. Yes. But every member of our Patreon gets a 40% discount at our online store. And there are now 3 books that you could go get through our online store. Yeah, not bad. With that 40% discount. Not a bad deal if you're signing up, even at the $5 level. So you save more than $5 on the book. Yeah, it's a good deal. And all of the books are great. I'm a little biased because one of them is mine, but but this one was really fun. Like when I was doing the proofing and stuff, I was like, this is such a good, like, true to form MM romance. The vampires are interesting. Like I really liked it a lot. So I'm excited people are jiving with it. Yeah. And I really liked the 2 main characters in this one. Yep. I liked the setting. I liked that I got to play with all the different brothers who are from different places and different points in time. And like, it's fun. Yeah. I would love to do more of this series if it gets enough of a response from people that it would be worth it to do that in the future. 'Cause I really enjoyed the first book, and I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation with Mia, and I would like to have more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I love Mia. If you're a fan of Mia Monroe and you like this audiobook, make sure you are subscribing and or purchasing the book through the store, because that is how we know you like it, and that is how we know it will be worth it to do another one. Yes. Yes. So you can check out links to both our Patreon and our online store, as well as our website and all our socials in the show notes for this episode and all the episodes, frankly. Yeah. We are not gatekeeping that store from anybody.
No, we try to scream it wherever we can, basically.
Anywhere and everywhere we can. Yes. Go buy our stuff.
Yes.
And now that this book's out in the world, we get to announce what our December audiobook pick is.
Yes.
And you said you were biased because one of your books has been turned into an audiobook.
Yes.
Well, it's about to get twice as bad.
Yes.
Because our December title is Ethan and Jag Destroy the World.
I'm so excited
by
that this one.
Maz Maddox.
That's me.
It's you. So yeah, this romantic duo was introduced as part of a holiday anthology series. So what better way to celebrate the holidays here at Hoof and Fang than with this book?
Yeah, this one's fun. So it initially was a short story that I did that had to be based around like the Christmas time. So the first part of the book is about how they meet, and it's set during Christmas, so it's perfect for the season. And it's I remember when I finished it, I loved it so much. It was one of those rare things that when I typically do short stories, I like it, but I don't really like writing short, so because it doesn't give me a lot of time to fall in love with the characters. But these two I did, and I loved them. So down the road, I was like, you know what? I want to continue their story. I want to expand on that.
Right.
So I took the short, and then I added like 9 months later, after all of the shenanigans from the first part, it's them during Halloween. So they've had 9 months of like figuring stuff out, and then this is like a continuation of their story, and everything goes crazy.
Right.
So it starts during Christmas time, which is perfect, and then it like fast forwards to Halloween. So you kind of get like two awesome holidays in one.
Right. And there's no baby, even though 9 months has passed.
Yes,
I
no
just
baby.
want to make that very clear. That was happenstance. That's just how long there is between New Year's and and Halloween.
Exactly.
No babies.
Yeah, no babies. No babies.
No babies. And that short story, Demon All the Way, is the beginning of the book, so that will be included. And maybe we'll do something special with that short story when the time comes.
Indeed.
Maybe there's something we can do for our listeners. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about sex in the books that we write and that we read.
Yes.
And after having that conversation, I got a lot of great feedback about it. I had good conversations with other people who had thoughts and ideas. It's something I'm going to tackle, I think, in my other podcast that I'm making with some narrator friends about the craft of narration. And after all of that, I thought, gee, I did the thing that I hate that people do.
What's that?
Which is that I made it about sex. And I put the spotlight on sex as like is this the thing that we should be doing? And like, do we feel uncomfortable about it? And is it bad?
Right.
And even though our consensus is that no, it's not bad. And yes, we should be doing this work and there's no shame in it. But it drives me crazy that sex gets so much of the attention.
Yeah.
When there is so much violence in the media that we see, the content that we consume, the books we read, including the ones we picked.
Oh, for sure.
You know? Like the violence just seems to get a pass. And we are living through yet another wave of people trying to ban books. And like the reasons are almost always about sex or sexuality.
Yeah.
But the violence that is inherent in our culture, in the media we consume, just does not get the same critical lens.
Right.
So we are rectifying that today. I want to talk about violence in the books and how we approach it and how we feel about it.
Yeah, no, it's a good topic because it's I have a very weird relationship when it comes to violence in media, and I think it's ever changing. My mind changes constantly about it, but where I'm sitting with it right now is I recently kind of took a step back because I was writing a part of Wild Contracts that was kind of gross. And I was like, I ended up kind of gross. And I was like, I wrote it and was like, this is a bummer. Like I had to walk things back. I made it funnier. I took out some of the like stabby stuff that was happening. And it was one of those moments where I was like, do I put too much in my books? Like you kind of, I think you have to, as a creator, be like, am I part of the problem? Because we as Americans, violence is part of so ingrained in our culture. And like, I think somebody put it well, where it's like we worship the cult of the gun, like guns are in absolutely everything. It was like the end all be all weapon for everything. Even superhero movies have guns. Captain America shoots guns. Like, it's part of it. So yeah, I don't know. It's a good topic because I'm like, I feel like romance and violence have a yin and yang. And I don't know. I'm in the middle of writing a book about an assassin, and I'm like having this crisis where I'm like, oh shit, like, do I need to be reevaluating like what he does and how much I'm putting into it? And there's dead bodies that are alive again. It's just, it's a lot. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, and I mean, we just did an audiobook that is about assassins. And as a narrator, we are sometimes when we're approached about a book, we're given a heads up about the level of spiciness. I'm seeing it more often now that we are also sometimes given a heads up about certain types of violence, but even those are mostly sexual.
Yeah.
It is mostly about sexual assault and non-consent. I just through one production house do I regularly see a description of how much spiciness is there and a description of how much violence is there, regardless of whether it is sexual violence or just run-of-the-mill, shooty, stabby, punchy violence.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah. Like if people are getting killed. And I'm rarely bothered by it. Like what we talked about a couple weeks ago, where like I came across that first sex scene and like I really stopped and I thought about like, do I want to do this? And what will it mean if this is my voice putting this out in the world? I did not do that for the violence that was in that book.
Yeah. Well, there's a huge double standard here in America. Like you could, I mean, cartoons, me and Alex got really into Gravity Falls recently.
Okay.
And there was an episode we watched last night where this kid accidentally summoned zombies, as you do. And like this, like they were like chopping off their heads and bashing their skulls in, and like their blood was green, but it was still gore. Right. I mean, but this is a Disney cartoon. But I remember the creator of it talking about on Twitter a couple years ago how he had to rewrite this one couple because it was a gay couple, and Disney was like, no, absolutely not. But they were okay with like the zombies getting ripped in half and stuff. So it's like, of course you didn't think about it because you don't have to. That's not going to end your career. But like, God forbid you read a sex scene out loud. That's, no.
That's porn.
Yeah, that's porn. How dare you?
Right.
So it's really topsy-turvy how all that works.
Yeah. And I guess like, I don't know if I'm just aging into a point in my life where like, I just don't want to do it as much as I did.
Yeah.
I would say I appreciate the heads up. I don't know that I would do anything in the real world that was as violent as I feel comfortable doing, like vampire assassins in an urban fantasy, you know?
Yeah.
The fantasy of it gives it some cover for me in that these types of violent actions don't actually happen in the world. Because to my knowledge, vampires do not exist. Although in the conceit of the book, no one would know they were anyways.
Yeah, that's by design.
Right. That could just be their plan. Whereas when a book is just a contemporary book and there's violence, it is like, I don't know. I would struggle with it. To me, that mostly has surfaced in particular genres of books, including what's often described as dark romance.
Yeah.
Or bully romances, or dubcon, dubious consent, or non-con, non-consent.
Right.
And I know there's a market for it, and I don't shame anybody for what they like.
Right.
But I am definitely at a point where like, I don't want to do that kind of work. I have said no to things now because of that type of violence appearing in a book, even sometimes when I was promised it wouldn't. And then it's like, and then you get the manuscript and it's like, no, this thing that I said was a red line for me that I will not cross. It's here.
Yeah.
So you have to find somebody else. It would take a lot of convincing for somebody to get me to do another like motorcycle club romance, just because of how prevalent violence is in that culture, in those books. Again, if that's what you like, more power to you.
For sure.
It's just not what I am interested in doing at this point in my career. And I want, I guess, to be more vocal about the fact that like I am more comfortable with weird kinky sex stuff than I am with blatant violence.
Yeah.
And I'm putting it out there, and I don't care if people think that's weird.
Well, and I don't think it's weird because it's especially within the MM romance community. Like the don't yuck somebody else's yum is very prevalent. And so I think you can recognize when something is part of the community and just be like, no, thank you. Politely, no, thank you. And I know a lot of people who like the darker romances, who like the bully and the non-con and stuff like that. They are themselves survivors of similar things. So that's how they cope. That's how they make it into a fantasy so they can, heal in their own ways. Other people, totally opposite. That's so far from what they want to do. Right. So everyone's different, right? So I understand the appeal. I understand why it's important. I think people can continue to write it forever, like always. But yeah, no, I'm the same way. There's definitely hard cut off things where I'm like, I'm not comfortable with it. And I think this has changed quite a bit since I've gotten into the genre. Because I think I started reading it in like 2016. I read everything. It could be dark shit, like dark as the night. And I'm like reading it and I'm like, oh, okay. But like, I also was a 911 operator at the time. And so I think my brain shifted after that job to where I just don't have the stomach for any like real world type of violence anymore. Like I think the last John Wick movie I watched, I love John Wick. It's one of my favorite series, but that one was rough. There's so many gunfights and stuff. So we were towards the end of the movie and I was like, man, it's just not hitting the same way it used to. Cause I think I'm just like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of over it. It almost has
to outdo itself.
Yeah. They have to ramp it up.
Bourne movies did that.
Yeah.
I didn't see John Wick for specifically that reason. I don't like the violence, but I'm assuming they have to do the same.
For sure.
Deadpool, the second movie was grosser and more violent than the first
really
one.
Was.
Like they always have to outdo themselves when that sort of content is there. You said something that's interesting to me. You said, I understand the appeal. I'm going to say I don't understand the appeal.
Yeah.
But I think it's important sometimes to acknowledge that like, I don't get it. I can't put myself in your shoes, but I'm still okay with you doing it.
Yeah. No, that's a big one because you don't have to understand it to be tolerant about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or tolerant, accepting,
yes,
even celebrating it. Like if it's good for you, I believe you when you say it's good for you.
Yeah.
I cannot relate in any way, shape, or form.
For sure.
It makes me deeply uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I am not a survivor of domestic or sexual assault, but still, I think the way my brain works, the way empathy exists in my person, I put myself too much in those situations and I just can't and don't want to. And it's part of my job to put myself in those situations if I'm narrating the book.
Yeah.
And so that's where like I've learned to take care of myself and just say, it's not for me. Those aren't for me. I probably won't do as good of a job as somebody who can relate to those characters and those situations better than I can. But it's okay that I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I just believe you when you say you like it.
Yeah.
Person who likes it.
For sure.
Regardless of what the content is. With some exceptions.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely, I think, some things we can agree on. That's just a hard no. Right. No. Everything about that is bad and you are bad.
We're going to have a fight if it's violence against animals.
Yeah. And
violence against children. We're just going to have a fight about whether or not that's okay to do, even in a book.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
We're going to have a fight about it. That's a line I'm not.
Yes.
I'm just not willing to be like, oh, it's okay that you like that.
Nope.
No, I don't think it is. I think if you like that, we need to have a long conversation that includes a call to a therapist.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, I will proudly stand on that hill with you for sure.
Right.
But yeah, it's a good question. And I think because I've never been the author who writes dark romance or hopefully not too overly violent, but I think I can kind of toe the line on that one. Some of my stuff.
Your dinosaurs did some pretty violent things.
Yeah, I mean
they chomped some people.
They chomp people and hit people in the head with bats and stuff. So
they were facing off against some bad dudes.
Yeah, for sure. So I think probably after Wild Contracts because it's kind of unavoidable when he's a necromancer / assassin. I think I'm going to work on dialing it back just because I don't want, I don't know. Like me personally in my career, I don't want to keep leaning on violence as a crutch for plot and like where I want things to go. Like, I don't know, maybe find clever ways to talk people out of things or solve things without people getting punched in the face. Right. But I don't know. Well, that's where I am right now. Well, fast forward 5 years and I'm like, I have a Hitman series. That's great. But yeah, as I'm sitting right now, because it was a weird, like the timing of this is awesome because it was just last weekend when I was writing, I was like, I think I need to chill out. Yeah. I think I need to maybe walk some of these scenes back. So yeah.
And like, I don't recall the first book being upsettingly violent because it's the world that the character lives in.
Right.
And this is also true of Mia's book that I just narrated and is out now, Eternal Sin, available in our online store. The violence is always justified.
Sure.
And even though I have human empathy for every living human being, if a human has to be murdered, authors often make it quite justified.
Yeah, for sure.
That person.
Yeah.
Including some cases where like that person is doing the violence and removing them from the situation might actually lead to less violence overall.
Right. Yeah. And that's, I mean, I can understand that too. Like I try to make the people who get unalived, I try to make them bad or justified in some way. But like with Dallas, he takes a job no matter what it is. He's not one of those assassins with morals. He's like, it's the paycheck for him. So I had to be careful with whoever he was targeting on page because I didn't want it to be like, Dallas is a bad person. I wanted him to be like, his past is really bad, but he's not bad now. Like he's growing and stuff. So, but like with this past scene that I was doing, the person wasn't bad, but they were like already dead. And so he was like bringing them back to life. And just like all of it was just kind of icky. And I was like, no, I'm going to have to rewrite this now because I don't like it. Like it was just too nasty. And so I'm like, I rewrote it and made it way funnier. And so I like where it's at now. But yeah, I was like, I don't want Dallas to be an asshole. I don't want him to be somebody who like violence is his entire personality. I wanted him to be more like a lovable idiot, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to kind of reframe my lens going forward and be like, okay, does it have to be like kick in the door and punch the bad guys and save the boy? Or can we maybe do something different and maybe make it more interesting where people are walking away from the situation face intact? You know what I mean? So yeah, well, this is a good topic. I look
forward to learning more about that journey as it continues to unfold.
Indeed.
And I do also think that like trigger warnings, content warnings, are prevalent now for a reason. I think it's important that we include those. We are including them in the actual audio of the books we're producing, which I don't think is necessary. I do think it's necessary to have those sorts of content warnings on whatever page you purchase a book from. I think you have to, before you buy something, you have to know what might be in the book that could really harm you just by being exposed to even a fictional character going through it, even in a fantasy world.
I think we can have a whole episode about trigger warnings because it's weirdly divisive. People are either 100% like, yeah, for sure, these help people, or they are just, no, it spoils things and people don't need them and things like that.
I guess we don't have to have a whole episode about it. I can say right now
that
if you don't need the trigger warnings and you think they spoil the book, then don't read the trigger warnings.
That's my stance.
It's not there. They're not there for you then. They're there for somebody else.
Yeah.
Very simple.
I've had full conversations with people who I adore very much who just cannot seem to wrap their mind around that because they'll be like, well, it tells you about the book. I'm like, then don't fucking read it. Like, you could skip the page. Right. It's not a big deal.
They are there for the people who are actively looking for something that might trigger a negative response.
Right.
They need that warning.
Yeah.
And if nothing's there, at this point, the assumption is that there are no issues. And so if you come across it by surprise, it will be quite unpleasant.
Yeah,
if you, like me, are lucky enough to not have any major trauma in your life, that you are not triggered by really anything that is in these books,
right?
You don't have to look at the trigger warnings. Then they're not for you.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, that's how I feel. And it's you know what, frustrating when people just cannot seem to understand that there are other people out there who do have those things, and that it's important that we just be mindful of it. It's not hard. It's the easiest thing you can do to accommodate somebody is just to put some text on a page being like, hey, heads up, this is a thing, so maybe skip.
Right. Yeah.
Ta-da, done.
Right.
So, but yeah, no, it's frustrating.
There, we saved ourselves a whole episode.
Yeah, there you go.
That's our stance.
Yeah.
Well, this week we do not have a guest. We have some interviews in the can, but for my own sanity, I was like, we're not going to do an interview the week after vacation.
Keep editing nice and chill.
Yeah, going to keep editing nice and chill for this week still. Yeah. We're going to ease back into a normal schedule, which is not true because we're going to do...
We've got so much going on this week.
It's going to be like 2 weeks of feeling semi-normal and then more holidays come. It's like this time of year is just insane and crazy. So
yeah, it really is.
Our release schedule will be different over the next few weeks than it probably will be once we get into the new year.
Right.
But since it was such a giant success last time, it went viral. Everybody was talking about it. I thought we'd play another game of Guess That Gay Book.
Yeah. This time. Yeah, you're in the hot seat. I have one picked and now you have to guess.
Okay. Let me get my Googles. Okay. Is it fiction?
Yes.
Is it romance?
Yes.
Did I narrate it?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Yeah. Did you write it?
No.
Okay. Is it contemporary?
Yes.
Have we interviewed the author?
No.
Okay. Is it young adult?
No.
Is it new adult?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Is it a holiday story?
It is.
Oh. I've only done a handful of those. Is the author Kira Andrews?
No.
Done 2 for her. Is the author E.J. Russell?
Nope.
Is the author M.A. Wardell?
Yes.
So it's Mistletoe and Mishigas.
Yes.
Yay!
You guessed it so fast. But yeah, I was like, oh, this one's perfect because it's 1, holiday. 2, it happens right after Thanksgiving.
Yes, it does. It takes place. The very first scene in that book takes place the day after the Sunday of after Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So I was like, this is cute. So I picked that one.
I really enjoyed that book. If you have not yet picked up Teacher of the Year, which was M.A. Wardell's first book, or the second book in that series now, which is Mistletoe and Mishigas, highly recommend it. I co-narrated the second book with my friend Mark Sanderlin, who just like so perfectly embodied the character
that's awesome.
that was written in that book. Like, it was just one of those things where like M.A. Wardell sent me the manuscript and was like, this one's dual POV. So like, do you think we should do a co-narrator or not? And I was like, I don't know. Let me read it and then we'll see. And then like, I just heard Mark's voice in my head for those chapters. And I was like, this is the guy I would recommend. And he's like, I love him.
Oh, great.
And I was like, oh, great. I was like, Mark and I had wanted to do a project together. So I'll just see if he has time and if he's okay with this level of spiciness. They are spicy books.
Oh, okay.
They're spicy.
Okay.
Not like insanely, but like they do not cut away for the sex scenes that happen. Sorry if that was a spoiler.
Oh,
sex scenes happen in these romance novels.
I figured as much. It seemed like it would.
Yeah. So Mistletoe and Mishigas, highly recommend the audio because I think Mark is great. I think I'm pretty good. I think we did a good job together. People seem to like the books.
Good.
And more to come in this series from this author. Highly recommend you follow him on TikTok. He is like a prolific TikTok poster.
Oh, nice.
In a way that like I am surprised by.
Really? That's awesome.
I can't say enough nice things about about the author and those books, and I hope that more people go and get them. And it is a perfect time to be consuming Mistletoe and Mishigas.
Yeah, I read the synopsis and it sounds so cute. Like, yeah, I liked it a lot. Like the whole fake dating thing is a big one too. And all of it, a lot of check marks on that. I was like, this is cute.
Yeah. And also, we'll have to talk about this on a future episode. There's a lot of body positivity.
Oh, good.
In especially the second book.
Okay.
So
sweet. Love that.
Recommend.
It's a good bonus.
It is. So yeah. So yes, that was our speed round of Guess That Gay Book.
You knocked that out so fast.
I'm so good at these things.
Yeah,
I'm a 20 questions savant.
Okay.
I just they just come to me one after the other.
See, my mind goes like full white noise when I'm put on the spot. So like, if we're going to do another one, you have to give me a heads up so I can write questions down. Because if you're like, hey, I'm going to be like, I don't remember my name.
I'm telling you right now, we're going to do another one at some point.
Okay. I'll get my questions
ready.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh, and if you would like to get in touch with us with questions that you might have, we are available at all the socials that are listed in the episode show notes. You can visit our website, hoofandfangpodcast.com, or email us at hoofandfangpodcast@gmail.com. Join our Patreon. They are, at the time of us recording this episode, we still have the audiobook poll live, but by the time this episode comes out, it will no longer be live. So,
well, I think it'll be live. Are we turning it off on the 1st or like midnight of the 1st?
We'll turn it off on the 2nd.
Okay,
so this is your last chance.
Yeah,
if you want to vote in our audiobook poll, go do it right now. Join our Patreon. You can even join for free to vote in that poll. But as a paid member of the Patreon, you also get access to all of our Animorphs episodes, bonus content with the authors that we're interviewing, and more fun things to come. So we want you.
Yes.
We want to earn your Patreon dollars. So please join us over there and let us know if there's something we're not doing that we could be. We definitely want to be making everybody who supports the podcast super happy.
Indeed. Yep. That is our goal.
Yes. So go join the Patreon. Go get Eternal Sin by Mia Monroe.
Do it.
If you just want to send me some money, I'm fine with that too.
Look how shameless you are. Like, my Cash App thing is this.
Yeah.
PayPal at Kirt
available in my link tree. Listen, the holidays are expensive.
Hey, man.
And I'm doing one free audiobook a month.
There you go. I get it. Like just today, my freaking debit card got compromised. So you know what? Send me some money. Right? I got to recoup that shit. What a day.
I experience no shame. Apparently, this is where we're at.
Yeah,
no shame.
Hey.
All right, so we will be back next week. We will have an interview next week, and who knows what we'll be chatting about. Yeah. Even we don't know yet.
Yeah, we're wild like that.
Yeah, wild and crazy guys. All right, everybody have a great week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.